Hello, Taurus. This is Angel Aura Divination, and I'm here to give the sign of Taurus their June 2021 Tarotscope. I'm using the Energy Oracle and the Universal Tarot to give you the message. I'm using the Energy Oracle to give me the overall energies of the reading, and then I'm using the Tarot to kind of emphasize and explain different things as I go through. This is an intuitive reading. If you are a longtime listener of this channel, I suggest going to listening to the collective reading that I did before the Tarotscope series that I'm doing for this month at this time. And then coming back here, I always think that that would be a great idea because the collective message is going to benefit and resonate with all the Tarotscopes that I do during this series from Aries to Pisces. And then I'm going to be doing those every time I do a set of 12 Tarotscopes. I'm probably going to be sticking to a more regular schedule with my readings, and so a lot of that has gone over in my collective message for this month as well. Without anything else, I'm just going to get into your reading. Hopefully you've been having a great month, and yeah, some changes are happening here, and yeah. So your first energy oracle is the man holding a heart. Your second one is door to value, and your third is, okay, we have two, but they're telling me to take hostility, so I'll take this other one as the bottom of the deck. Interesting. Okay, so we're going to start out with the man holding the heart. Right now, this is a 45 resonating with the vibration of 8. So whatever that means for you, okay. So you could be in a very heart-centered space right now. You could be focused on relationships. They're saying something about that Venusian energy of the Taurus that's really coming through for you at this time. I don't know where Venus is astrologically, but that also might be important for you to understand. If this is somebody around you, somebody might be offering their heart to you, or you might have somebody's heart in your hand. You are in a very loving energy, I want to look good for my lover. I want to look good so that I can attract somebody into my life. I want to attract somebody into my life, so I'm looking for somebody who is looking for me kind of energy. And it's very much that give and take energy of the romance. You might even be in a chasing stance where you're like ready to go and have that. You're ready to go and look for that in other people. Your heart chakra would be open during this time, but they're also saying something about this really being more about the sacral chakra. So just make sure you're not thinking with your pants or thinking with your crotch instead of thinking with your heart. I mean, if you're looking for something that'll satisfy that area of your life, that is your business and you are entitled to do that. It would benefit you right now to also look for physical symbols or physical charms that would help you spiritually protect yourself, because in this picture the man has a necklace around his neck, and that might benefit you, whether that's you having a necklace or crystals, or the necklace actually has a ring around it, so maybe you're somebody who wears a lot of jewelry, rings, earrings, nose rings, different things like that. It would always benefit you to bless those things, to cleanse those things. It would benefit you to use crystal or real metals, pure metals, and understand the purposes of those materials in a spiritual sense and how that would benefit you. That also could be something about a health message where it's like, if you are allergic to certain metals for whatever reason, or if you're only able to use pure metals for jewelry, maybe there is a spiritual reason why you're guided to do that. And with that, I think that, there might literally be a medical reason for that, but there also might be a spiritual reason for it as well. Do your own personal divination, or go find a reader to give you a reading on that if that's something that you're interested in. I think that's interesting that that's coming up. Oh, wow. Somebody might be sending you a lusty message soon, whether that's, intimate or romantic. It could be both. Like somebody might even be coming to you one or the other. I think that coming to somebody with romantic intentions and being intimate is one thing. Being intimate and coming to somebody with, or being romantic and coming to somebody with intimate intentions, meaning that you only want to deal with somebody because you want to have sex with them or because you're attracted to them, that's another thing completely. And I think that's honestly kind of toxic. So be aware of the messages that are coming into you right now and use your own discernment when it comes to understanding how people are approaching you when it comes to your own heart space for the benefit of yourself. And then the card that we have emphasizing the man holding a heart first is Justice. They told me to talk about it in its own. Justice is about balance. It's also about protecting yourself, like I was saying. Because there are parts of you that are more sensitive than others. They're saying because Justice has, in the depiction of Justice, she has bare feet. Everything is covered except for her feet. There are parts of you that are going to be going through sensitivities. There are things that you are sensitive to, and it's important to understand what those things are so that you can exert healthy boundaries right now. Connect to your own intuition and your own guidance when it comes to that. Balance is something that you're also going to be having to emphasize, especially with the more masculine side of things, where it's kind of like you have to put in the effort to, you know, clarify what your boundaries are and then also be able to defend them if somebody puts them into question, or if situations that you're in really make you question your boundaries. Why is it that you feel that way, and what is it that you need to work on to make sure that the boundaries that you have are being set properly and then also being healthily executed? Meaning something along the lines of, let's say I don't really like people looking at my feet. That's not necessarily the truth. I'm not giving my own personal information about that. But if you don't like people looking at your feet, then don't post pictures of yourself with bare feet online. You know what I mean? It's stuff like that. Understanding that, you know, your boundaries are your boundaries as well, though. If just because you don't like your feet doesn't mean that everybody hates their feet. Some people really like feet. That's just an example. You know, and being able to defend your stance on that. You know, and it's not always about explaining yourself. It's also about understanding that you don't have to explain yourself. You don't have to go out of your way to be, you know, like, you know, defensive. You don't have to go out of your way to have, and that's really what I was talking about with spiritual protection. It's really like you don't have to go out of your way to always, you know, functionally practice rituals to have spiritual protection. If you do the rituals well enough, maybe it's just once a week, or maybe it's just cleansing and cleaning off of your jewelry, like I was saying, or having crystals that help you cleanse, or, you know, cleansing those crystals that you carry around all the time. They're saying something about crystals in the bra. That might be a thing for you. You know, it's like if you care, and cleansing those crystals just as much as you wash your clothes. Maybe you know, oh, they're taking it a weird way. I don't really like that, so I'm not going to say it. Anything else for a man holding a heart? Okay, we have the Empress, we have the Page of Cups, we have the Knight of Pentacles, and we have the Three of Cups. I'm going to do these in order as I said them. Empress, Page, Knight, Three. And they're not going to be set up this way. Empress, this is you, Taurus, coming out in the man holding a heart. So you, regardless of where you are, you have something to offer in relationship-wise, regardless of your gender or sex, you know, and that's something important to be noted here. I think the Venus energy is being executed in your appearance as well, so you might be feeling very luxurious. You might be looking really good. You might have just got some new clothes. You might be doing something different with your hair or your makeup or something like that that's making you look extra good, and I think people around you are going to take notice of that. I think it would benefit you to also come to a greater understanding about the way that you look and about the way that you feel, you know, and it's just as much about what they're saying is it's just as much about the way you look as it is about the way you feel. Meaning you need to take into consideration how you feel when you look good and try to have that feeling when you don't look good. Are you feeling just as empowered when you're wearing sweatpants and no makeup as you are when you're, you know, completely dressed to the nines and, you know, full face, you know, and your hair is did and all that stuff? It's about that as well. Understanding what you have to offer is not going to be changed by your physical appearance. And with the Page of Cups, this is a representation of what it is you have to offer. And that's exactly what I was saying. The Page of Cups is saying it's more about what you have to offer emotionally than it is what you have to offer on a physical stance. Because the physical is material, and material is not always the most important in relationships or otherwise. But neither is the emotional, neither is the spiritual. It's all about balance, and that's what the Knave of Cups, the Page of Cups, whatever you want to call it, is about. It's about balance in the material and balance in the emotional, and understanding that that is something that you have to offer. Somebody might also be offering you some emotional new start here, or they're looking at the way that you look and trying to determine whether or not you're open to that based on your appearance, because you are making yourself more available, and you're trying to look good, meaning that you're also opening yourself up to other people giving you compliments and communicating to you about the way that you look, or based on the fact that you look like you're open for relationships might also be coming into your energy as well. With the Knight of Pentacles, any relationships that you are working on right now, they are coming into you on a slow level, but the material abundance will be there if that's what you're working on instead. If this has to do with, they're saying a new job offer, that might be on the table for you. Make sure that you are dressed well for the interview. You're definitely going to get it if you're sitting in that Venus energy. Don't try to seduce your potential boss, but also at the same time, don't go in there looking like crap and then expect to get everything handed to you just because you're in a good mood that day. Wow. And that's with the Three of Cups, this talks about possibly a reunion or something to be celebrated. So that's exactly what I was saying. You might have something to celebrate if this is about a job where you go in, you're looking good, and then you get the job, and because you're confident because of the fact that you look good. Beyond that, I also want to say that if you're waiting to reconcile with somebody, whether you're masculine or feminine, it's going to happen at a slow pace, meaning you might start off as friends, and you might start off with some minuscule conversation, or not that, there's a better way to say that, small talk. Wow, minuscule conversation. Anyway, and that's really what the Page of Cups is about here. If this is about relationships, it's about somebody might be coming to you because they see you as a divine feminine, an abundant individual, and they come with small talk because they want to start off as friends. They want to start off small and have something that they want to develop into an emotional relationship or an emotional situation for you. This may be a masculine who is in his heart space. This individual may be very protective of you, and this individual definitely wants a balanced situation with you because they see you as somebody who has healthy boundaries, and they like that about you. Even though you look good, you're not just there to look good and also be open to whatever's going to come to you just because it's available, just because you're available. It's like that energy of Taurus, where it's like, I'm open to the universe and the law of attraction, the abundance of the universe as it comes to me, the energy of Venus. But just because it comes to me, it's like, that doesn't mean anything. I can have all the abundance that I want. Just because you have something to offer me doesn't mean I have to take it, basically, is what the goal here is. And I think somebody is really attracted to the fact that you actually know your own worth there, instead of just taking everything just because you can, And they might not even say it that well. I'm just saying, like, that's how the energy is presenting itself. The next card that we have out is the Door to Value, and that's exactly what they're talking about here. This is not about relationships, or this is about your relationship to the self. It is about understanding what it is you have to offer, and understanding that you have your own inherent value as an individual. You might, and if this is about a job situation, you are going to be coming into a greater sense of material abundance. There's a lot of money in this card. And you might even be walking through new doors to different forms of abundance, or maybe you're even coming into a greater awareness of what material abundance can be for you because you're starting your own business or you're starting your own job. This could even be a second job, is my point. Like, this could be something outside of your main place of work, and then it's like you're coming into a greater awareness, like, I could have more than what I have now for the same amount of work or a similar amount of work that I was putting in by taking less hours at this job and starting my own business or something like that. That's what's coming through as well. The first card from the tarot, I also want to say that the Door to Value is a 31, resonating with the energy of 4. I don't know if that's important to you or not, but right now we have the 45 as a 9, and we have the 31 as a 4. The 45 is from the man holding a heart. The 31 is from the Door to Value. The first tarot card that we have out for the Door to Value is the Hanged Man. You are kind of stagnating right now, trying to make better decisions. They're saying something about coming into a greater alignment about what it is that you have to offer. I think you're connecting to your own divine feminine energy here a little bit, where it's kind of like, I know I look good. You know, I know that I look good to others. I know that I dress well. I know that I appear well to other people. I know I could do a little better, possibly even, and I think that might even be what some of this about. We have the Five of Pentacles here, that this is not necessarily all about material abundance. If this is about a relationship, I would say that your relationship to the self is going to be emphasized through this relationship with this other person who's either coming in to give you an offer, or that you are going out to give an offer to, depending on who you are. It's kind of being more emphasized that the masculine is coming to offer something to the feminines here, and that's fine. But it could be the other way around, depending on, you know, who you are and what your life is. So take it as it resonates. With the Five of Pentacles here, there have been situations in the past where you felt left out in the cold. Possibly even job opportunities have happened for you where you were fired or you were put out into a situation. Possibly they're describing a situation where somebody started a business with you, or a friend had a business, they had you as an employee, and then they got rid of you, kind of energy. And now that person might even be coming into a greater realization, regardless of the actual situation, that they needed you a little bit more than they were saying, with the Hanged Man being the representation of the employer being hung up, realizing that the work is stagnating, the business is stagnating, and understanding that you had something to offer, but they casted you out. And now you're starting your own situation, quite possibly. Can we have more for the door to value? We have the Queen of Swords coming out with the Star. I love that. So you might be an Aquarius, or an air sign placement might be involved in the situation. Air signs being Libra, Aquarius, and Gemini. The Star is Aquarius, though. You are very defensive about certain topics, especially in communication. They're saying something about co-workers coming in to try to communicate with you, and you kind of blocking them off because you understand that there are manifestations that you have going on in your life that you want to be executed without the people that you were working with in the past, because some of these people might have been toxic connections or karmic connections, and like, it's not going to benefit you to go and entertain these relationships with these people if they're only going to be dragging you down or making you feel stagnated in the energy. It's interesting that we have the Star and we have the Hanged Man, because to me as a reader, I would kind of interpret that as, you know, if this is just about you coming to a greater awareness of what you want after a period of stagnation, and then making a wish within your own connection to the universe, whether that's through prayer or manifestation, through meditation, whatever it is for you, and making the wish, putting in the work on the mental and the spiritual level, so that when you actually decide to take action, you're going to get what you want. With the Queen of Swords here, this is further emphasizing that you need to take caution, and you need to take the precautions that you are guided to take at this time to spiritually and mentally protect yourself. There are aspects of these relationships, regardless of the nature, whether they're platonic, work relationships, or romantic relationships, that you are going to have to execute your own boundaries with. And this is something that's being further emphasized, especially if you have any air placements. Your intuition might be a little heightened at this time, especially as you go into this greater sense of personal value, as because they're saying something about self-esteem being highlighted for you, and then it's kind of like, because you feel so good about yourself, your intuition heightens as well, and that's great. Just understand that there is a need for balance in the spiritual life and the mundane life. So while you might be connecting to the 4D and the 5D or whatever, you also need to understand you're still living this human experience, and that's something that I talked about in the collective reading as well. Okay, and so I'm going to be pulling one more card for the door to value. Okay, and 2 cards flipped out. I'm only going to take the Hierophant. This reading so far has been very organized, and I think organization might benefit you at this time, especially if you are going into this new job position that you want, or if you are trying to manifest this new beginning on the career front. If this is about a relationship, I think that this energy of the person that's coming into your life might be very organized, or this could even be the energy of a partner around you as well. The next card that we have out for the door to value is the Hierophant. They're talking about, you know, if this is a relationship, something sacred is going to be developed between the two of you. This could even be like a power couple situation where there is a dynamic between the two of you where you are somewhat of societal leaders, whether you choose to be or not. There's also an aspect of the situation being like, one individual might be subservient to the other. It's not necessarily that like, it's not necessarily like one person is like, completely submissive to the other, though, because when it comes to the hierophant is only as strong as the people that are following him, the Pope. So it's kind of like, if this is a relationship, it's still going to be give and take, because even though one person might be pushing this relationship in a dominant position or in a leadership role within the relationship, especially on a romantic sense, the other person still being involved in the relationship, they still carry a specific power in that sense, even if they are taking a submissive role, or if that is something that is being desired here between you and this person, Taurus. So the next card we have out for the Energy Oracle is Hostilities. I started shuffling the tarot deck, so I am going to start off with the first card that came out because it fell on the floor, and it indicated to me that this was an important card. The Hostilities is a 26, resonating with the vibration of 8, which is a standalone card as well, because we have 45 in the Man Holding a Heart, which is a 9, Door to Value, which is a 4, and then the Hostilities, which is an 8. You might, and this is another emphasis, because we have Justice holding a sword here, we have the Queen of Swords holding a sword, and then we have Hostilities holding a sword. You are going, if this is a new relationship for you, you are going to have to practice healthy boundaries, especially if there are dominant and submissive tendencies or themes being played out in this relationship with this person. There's also possibly a need, that was more emphasized in my mind, that you are going to really need to practice healthy boundaries with what other people are saying to you about this relationship as well. Just make sure that in that defending, you are not going into a place of ego, because I kind of see in this card, he has this helmet here placed next to him, and it's kind of like the helmet, because it has horns, it's kind of representing his connection to spirit, his connection to the universe, and it's like he's putting that to the side to have this battle, when in reality he could be using the helmet to protect himself at this time. Meaning, you could be utilizing your connection to the universe to understand when it is appropriate to execute healthy boundaries versus when it's not as necessary. Not every person who communicates with you about your relationship needs to be struck down, because you are protected here, even if it's not consistently energetically protected with all this greenery in the picture, because this seems to be a situation happening during the autumn season. It's kind of like you are still connecting to the universe, but don't lose that connection to the universe by, going so hard, so above and beyond to actually, make a relationship out to be more than it is, or make somebody's opinions that they're kind of telling you about more than they actually are. Just because somebody gives you their ideas or their opinions about a relationship doesn't mean that you actually have to talk about it. The first card that we had come out for Hostilities is the Two of Cups. And the Two of Cups is about a divine union or a soulmate relationship. That's what I actually saw when I saw the card. And that might be important to you at this time, having that soulmate connection, having that divine union. But what also could be communicated here is that you and this person are going to be on a similar level, and there's going to be an even exchange between you. So, and they're also saying that this has something to do with that organization energy that I was talking about when I was talking about the reading. You are going to be in a very organized state, especially with your career and your relationship. So if that's something that you're worried about, maybe put in a little bit more effort to organize your life instead of just having that be something that kind of sits in your mind instead of being something that you can actually change. Like, don't let your disorganized life be the reason that your relationships fail, basically, is what I'm saying. And all that takes is a little bit of action. Now we have the Page of Swords coming out. This is the fourth character coming out with swords. You might be an air sign, or somebody around you might be an air sign, but this is also talking about the other people's opinions of your relationship as well. There might be people outside of this relationship that you're starting, or the relationship that you already have, that wanted to have something with you as well, is what I'm seeing. There are people that could be watching your social media, or people that could be watching your every move, keeping tabs on you. This also could be individuals who are still communicating with you in that romantic sense, or expressing their thoughts about your relationship to you. They have something that they need to be focused on building, but they're more worried about what it is you're building for some reason. And ultimately, it's kind of like, if this person's not focused on their own blessing, then maybe that's something to be said about them, not about you. But that is something to be said about what you have, because it's an indication that what you have might be more valuable to others than you might think as well. It's kind of like, if somebody's jealous or envious of you, then you really need to be grateful for what it is you have, because it's something that somebody else wants too, and that's great. Can I have more cards for hostilities, please? We have the Eight of Swords coming out. So don't be dismayed. First of all, they're saying don't be dismayed by all the people holding the swords. Having boundaries is not going to be as much of a battle as you think it is. None of the cards in this reading have depicted a battle. They've all just depicted a necessity to be protected, especially on a spiritual and a mental sense. The Eight of Swords would also talk about mental imprisonment, and they're saying that this mental imprisonment has to do with material abundance. So maybe if this is a new job situation, it's kind of like don't be, what was it? What was it I said? Don't let your disorganized life prevent you from having a positive relationship or whatever. It's that energy being emphasized here as well with the Eight of Swords, but it's also about don't let your own mental hang-ups prevent you from having what it is you want in this life when it comes to relationships or when it comes to career. With the Hanged Man, that would also be about mental hangups as well. I'm surprised I didn't catch that, but that's all they're saying, that they were trying to give it to me then, and then I got it with the Eight of Swords, so it's fine. I need more cards for hostilities. They're saying the number 8 is important to you. You might be seeing 888 or other synchronicities associated with the number 8, or its associated numbers being the 2 and the 4. So yeah, that's all they have for that. We also have the Queen of Wands coming out now, talking about a connection to spirit, connecting to your own divinity, your own manifesting power, connecting to possibly protection. It's kind of like household protection as well. So if you are a spiritual individual, I am picking up on like spiritual people coming to this reading, and you do practice rituals of protection, it might benefit you to do something within your home or around your home especially. This is solar plexus energy coming through the Queen of Wands, being that your identity might come into question as well, or the identity of individuals that you might be involved with. The cat energy of the Queen of Wands comes through to kind of say that you do need to protect your household, or that your household is protected by your guides or even your actual pets. I'm seeing that there is a connection to gardening, or there is a connection to greenery that is in the literal sense, but if that's not true, then what you are manifesting is materially abundant for you. So if that's a relationship with somebody who has money that might be coming in for you, or if this is a relationship that will help you with your own career, that might also come in for you as well. If this is just about manifesting protection, I would say that that would also be coming in for you as well, especially if you are needing to protect yourself because of your own personal identity as a spiritualist or otherwise, is what they're saying. And lastly, if you are trying to have this new job situation, dressing well will benefit you, like I said, and you will ultimately have the job, and then you'll know, wow, and then they're saying you're going to be making enough money to where you can dress like that all the time, which is great. Perfect. Okay. Anything else for hostilities? Anything else for hostilities? We have the Queen of, or this is actually the High Priestess, wow. The Queen of the Mind. We also have the Emperor coming out here. So definitely, I'm going to start with the High Priestess. I'm going to talk about that first, and then I'm going to get into the Emperor. So we have the High Priestess coming out here to say, you know, you are coming into a greater balance and an understanding of the shadow self and the light self, and how you can do better when it comes to really integrating that information that you are getting from the universe and from your own personal studies and moving that into an integration of the self. So what you know does become a part of you. Your logical mind does become a part of you, and then you use that to execute good choices. And also, if you are a spiritualist, you are being guided by the divine, whether you feel it on a regular basis or not. I would say that you need to come into a greater union with that through meditation, possibly through prayer, or even through personal study, meaning that you might be getting signs and synchronicities and symbols that you just don't believe it or that you just don't notice, and that understanding those things by studying, whether that's going to YouTube and finding information through YouTube, going and looking up books and reading those books, buying those books, going to the library, or even reading online about certain spiritual topics might benefit you at this time. The divine feminine is being emphasized in this reading. So if you are a masculine, the feminine that you are chasing after might be a feminine counterpart to you. And if you are a feminine, that might be true in the same sense, regardless of the gender of your person. The polarity of the divine feminine is strong here. Venus might be in a good placement for Taurus placements at this time, or maybe some of the other feminine planets. We also have the Emperor and the Empress coming out in this reading, that indicating to me, along with the Two of Cups, that you might be coming into union with a potential soulmate or a long-term partner, which is great energy to have. With the Emperor coming out, this is also Taurus energy, but it could also be Aries or possibly even Leo to me as a reader. You are very much in control of the situations that you are in. If you are coming into a new position at work, you might end up being the boss one day if you stick with the job. Or you might end up having a promotion from the boss. You might even end up in a relationship with the boss, okay? So any of those things might apply to you. You are going to come into a greater awareness of what material abundance is for you, which was also emphasized through the messages from the Door to Value. And that's really the last message that we have to say here. Just make sure that the strategic mind and the logical mind are still being exercised. Don't just come into this job and think to yourself, well, I'm never going to have to put in work when it comes to interviewing ever again. Make sure that you come to this job with a new, fresh mindset every day. You know, refresh yourself. Always eat that brain food. Always have that food for thought. You know, listen to the tarot readings if that's what it is for you, to help you have a fresh mind about these things. And finally, we have the Angel of Balance on the bottom of the deck. This is also the guidance, the advice for this reading, they said. And so I'm going to be taking that as the advice. The Angel of Balance, this card is really about integrating the self into what it is that you communicate with others, which could also be about that mind energy, connecting your logic to your sense of self, and connecting your information that you've studied to your sense of self. Your guidance right now is to also, I'm seeing this angel as kind of almost like a genie energy. So if you are trying to make any wishes right now, they might come into fruition. Your manifestations might be very powerful at this time. You might be connecting to your past lives, especially if you resonate with the energies of the past lives of Egypt. That's something else that I see with the pyramids here. But that also might be something that's integral to your own personality or your identity. So I would definitely suggest looking up some of that information if you feel that that resonated for you. You might even be feeling like, some of your spiritual concepts might even be conflicting at this time, and that would benefit you to understand where some of those ideals or the ideologies of the things that you believe intersect. So if that, for example, if that is, more generalized spirituality or more new age spirituality versus something like Christianity, understand that certain concepts within both of those ideologies might intersect, and that's where you exist as well, in that energy of where those energies intersect. And finally, they're also emphasizing to me something about this potion bottle, this bottle that she holds right here. There's water in it. Water could represent, they're saying renewal. So there might be a renewal in your spirituality that might benefit you at this time. This card is a 48, reducing to a 12, ultimately resonating with the vibration of 3. So you could also be having some kind of experience with the number 3. There is a 3 in the Empress and a 3 of Cups out on this deck as well. So you could be having 333 or 888 being very significant to you at this time. And both of those, and so those angel numbers, or even those, you know, synchronicities. I'm not somebody who always assigns the angel number meanings to different synchronicities and things like that. I consider them more synchronicities, and I just take them for what they mean, and then I keep moving. Those numbers might mean something to you. They also might just be an indication that you are on the right path at this time. So hopefully this resonated for you, and hopefully you got something good out of this reading, Taurus, and I will definitely see you in your next reading. Goodbye. All right, goodbye for real. Oh my gosh.